Okay. So just a quick overview of our webinar today. So we sort of just did a little bit of an introduction. We're going to hear a few words from LADPSS. I know that Rogers, our great partner there, is on the line to share a little bit about how this sort of came to be. And then we're going to do that tutorial that I just mentioned. And so we have our partners from Code for America on as well that will be able to do that. And then finally, we'll just talk about some next steps. If this is brand new to you, we can definitely get you all set up. If you're already set up, then you'll definitely be feeling pretty comfortable after this with using the actual website. So we'll go over that at the end. All right, so I would love to turn it over to Rogers Munoz for a minute or two, just to sort of talk about how this came to be in LA County. I know that there were lots of talks over, I think, the last year or so about bringing this and making this live and making this an option for our campuses down there. So let me see if I can unmute you and then have you share a little bit. Okay, I think you're unmuted. Rogers, are you there? Let's see. Let me just see.
Okay.
There we go. There you are. I think I can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, Brandy. This is Rogers Munoz from Los Angeles County Department of Public Social Services. And I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what Los Angeles County is doing with GetCalfresh.org with Code for America. So Code for America, we started a partnership with them, a soft launch back on October 8th of 2018, so last year. And like I said, it was a soft launch. And up to date, they have been helping us submit a lot of CalFresh applications through their GetCalfresh.org website. As of today, they have successfully submitted 19,534 applications for CalFresh. And, you know, I mean, that's quite a bit for in its history, you know. So what we're doing is we're encouraging everybody to use getcalfresh.org as it's a simplified, streamlined application. And, you know, the whole amount of time that it takes to submit an application, anywhere between 8 to 10 minutes. And it's routed to the district of where the participants live, so that way they don't have to go far either. So one of the things that we're trying to do, though, is trying to get our current CBOs, which is the community-based organizations, and hopefully colleges as well, to be able to use the GetCalFresh.org application to submit their applications for CalFresh, while still getting credit for submitting an application. So we're working that with the department right now. We're also exploring the possibility of adding the availability of submitting their SAR-7, the participant SAR-7, through getcalfresh.org as well. Yeah. So it's a digital outreach, and it simplifies the CalFresh application by quite a bit. So we've seen a lot of success with it. So we would like to encourage as many people as possible to use that to file their applications.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that information. I think that those numbers that you shared are so powerful, and it just really shows how much easier it is to maybe complete the application rather than going through the original website. And it's just, yeah, thank you for sort of putting your stamp of approval on our campuses using this platform. And I think it's really going to help everyone increase their numbers. And I mean, if we're going from having an application take 45 minutes to an hour down to, you know, 10 minutes, that's a huge difference. And that just means more time that we'll all have to help our students. So thank you so much for sharing, Rogers.
Yeah, and it helps a lot with the agencies, because I know a lot of the agencies have limited resources and limited time. So it helps expand their resources, you know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. So we're going to move into the section now where we're going to talk about the Get Calfresh Platform and sort of what that looks like, and then we're going to get a little bit of a tutorial. So let me go back over to my slides. Okay, cool. So if you guys are not familiar with getcalfresh.org, this is sort of what it might look like if you look at it on, sort of a mobile device. This application is really awesome because it can be used from any computer, from a tablet, or from a mobile phone. We, I think, used our iPads during our last CalFresh Outreach Day to complete Get CalFresh applications, and it was just so user-friendly and so easy to navigate. Also, just to keep in mind that if you are serving students in any of these additional counties, this is also an option for you to use. So especially for our Southern LA campuses that may be serving students in Orange County, this is an option for you as well. All right, okay, so we're going to now turn it over to our partners at Code for America to do a little tutorial about how to use the actual site. So let me see if I can unshare my screen, and then you can probably share your screen so that people can follow along. So let me unshare mine. Okay. So yes, now you should be able to share your screen on your end, Caesar.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Atsai. My colleague Caesar is here. We both are from Code for America on the Get Calfresh team. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right.
Can everybody hear us okay?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great.
All right. And am I sharing my screen okay?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Awesome. In order for this, I think, to be the most productive use of everyone's time, we're just going to go through the demo site. And this is a neat site that our engineering team has created for anyone to go through and really just familiarize yourself with the application. You can go through the whole thing, submit fake documents and submit, and these applications don't live anywhere. And it's a neat tool for all of our CBOs to just kind of practice with it, if that seems helpful. So let's get started. Actually, the link, if anyone wants to use it, it's just demo.getcalfresh.org. It's up at the top, and you can use it at any time. Cool. So we are currently active in 36 counties.
So yeah, just a quick update. Sorry, outside. We recently went live in Riverside County earlier this week. So if you have any campuses there, if you want to reach out to us about those campuses and how they can get started, then we can talk about that offline also.
Yeah, and I'd like to stop right here and point this quick page out. Whenever you are doing the demo, it'll give you a warning sign letting you know that it is a demo, and if it is a real application, this is mainly intended for people who, just clients who maybe randomly come across it, to apply it on the actual website. But for this purpose, we're going to continue demo. Cool. I feel like we have it. The language and the terminology for the application is meant to be simplified and straightforward for clients to understand. So we ask just a lot of straightforward questions. And this would be like a perfect example. Do you have a job? Most people say
Excuse
yes.
me. Hello?
Yeah, hi.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We don't see the correct screen. What we see is the join meeting screen.
Are you sharing the wrong? You're probably sharing the wrong window.
Okay, this is Brandy popping in. It looks like Cindy Dunn, you're sharing your screen. I think it's laying over the top of the other screen. So if you could unshare yours. There's also an option though, if you go up to view options at the top of your Zoom bar, you can click on there and then you can click on the correct screen to see. Sorry about that. I'm sorry for that confusion.
No, no worries. Did I get it right? Or are you able to see the right screen now?
I'm able to see your screen, yes. I think that there's just some confusion because someone else is also sharing their screen at the same time. So let me see if I can fix that.
We're able to see it
okay.
now.
Yes, there it goes. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Let's continue. So first couple questions we'll ask you about jobs. It's neat because we also ask if you're self-employed or not. And for this purpose, I'll say no. I'll just keep it pretty simple. I haven't lost a job. Do you get money from other resources? Say yes. And this is the pre-screener, so it won't ask you for any amounts. It'll just determine if you have a job, if you don't have a job, if you get any other resources, if you pay child support and other things like that, and then it'll ask you questions, and then it'll determine whether you may or may not be likely eligible to apply. And I also like to point out that this is the slightly different than the actual site. We're constantly updating the site, and we take live feedback. So I think a lot of the CBOs see this firsthand. There's changes very often. How much do you get paid? Put in 100. And this is the pre-screen eligibility page I was mentioning. It'll look somewhat like this. I don't believe if somebody is over the income limit, it should still allow them to apply.
Yeah, so if you are over the income limit, the page will say it'll let them know that they're over the income limit, and it'll say something along the lines of it is likely that you are not eligible, but we're still obviously going to be able to let anybody apply, so if they can still click through that page and still continue an application regardless of what the message is.
And then it'll take you through expenses and deductions. And this is where it'll ask for the further information. Do you pay for child or dependent care? You can say yes. And then you enter in your basic, just use my name. Something else that I want to point out is if you see this little bubble down here, that is our Intercom Shop, and that's the live chat where myself and Caesar, since this is only a demo page, we don't actually receive these messages. But on the real website, that's where myself and Caesar are able to communicate with clients who have questions going through the application or anything about their benefits, really. And that's where clients are able to write in, and we typically answer within a couple minutes. This is also neat. It allows the client to choose whether they prefer a telephone or in-person interview. Not always necessarily the case for counties, but it does give them a better sense of maybe when the client is available and what their preference is to help them work around that. So let's do in person. Here, we have about 70% of clients who opt in for either email or text message reminders. And what that looks like is just reminding them, sending them their confirmation, reminding them about their interview, if they have or haven't had it. We send them a later document link, which is if they don't have their documents to submit at the time of application, they can do it anytime after. And then another thing that's important to point out is that this page is not the final page. So what I've seen sometimes happen is that people and assisters will get to this page and assume that the application is completed, but that's not actually the case. This here will just go through any documents that you've said in your application. For example, an ID is always required, but if you have a job, you'll be asked to submit pay stubs, your housing expenses, since we said you have dependent care expenses, those are also required. But what's also neat is that you can submit proof at the time of applying. You can send a link to your phone, or you can submit proof later, and for this instance, we'll just do that. And this is the final screen that you should see at the end of the application, and most clients receive an email 5 to 10 minutes after applying. Yeah, that's pretty much the basis of the application.
Yeah, and so I can talk about the document portion of it. Yeah, so like as I was saying, there's an option to send your documents in with the initial application, and that's going to be on here. Back button can be kind of tricky. All right. So if we go here after you submitted the initial information, it's going to give you the list of documents that you're going to need to provide. You have 3 options, like we talked about. Submit proof here, which will take you. All right. So since we already submitted it, it kind of just throws us back to this. But it'll take you through a kind of document guidance of how to upload your documents. And so just for these purposes, we'll go through this quickly. So this is our later document feature. I don't want to confuse anybody too much. I don't want to talk about this too much yet. We'll come back to it. And this, okay. So we'll say, yes, we know we need to submit. And then it'll send them to a page like this where they'll be able to choose a file either from the computer or if you're doing it from your phone, you can choose something from your phone's photo library. And then around here, it'll have like an icon of what the document should be, because we have that list of everything that they had entered beforehand. So it'll say, okay, now upload your ID. And so you'll have this box and you'll be able to upload a picture of your driver's license, your state ID, the school ID, whatever it is, you can upload it through here. Click upload, and then it'll take you to the next document that you'll need to do. And it'll also give you a chance of doing a choice of selecting nothing to upload here, because maybe you don't have it on hand, the client doesn't have it on hand. So you can just upload whatever it is that they do have, and you'll get to the end, to that confirmation page. And so this is the sort of demo. Okay. So this is we call this later docs. So if anybody needs to submit documents after the fact, so if they sent in an application, let's say yesterday on Thursday, but they didn't have their ID with them, they didn't have their pay stubs with them, their lease agreement, whatever, then they have the option of submitting the documents later, hence why we call it later docs. So they'll visit the site, getcalfresh.org/docs, and there is a demo version of this also. So please, if you are going to be playing around on it, we encourage you to just to try it out so you can get familiar with it. But be sure you're putting in demo.getcalfresh.org, so that because everything on the actual site will actually get sent into the county office. So it's important that it's done on the demo. So again, we'll do Alameda County, just the county that I live in. Get started, and then we need essentially as much information as possible in order to match your documents to the case that's already existing. So first name, last name. We need a birth date. And just fill this out. If they have a social security number, then they should enter it. I know a lot of people don't feel comfortable with it, but they should definitely try to provide one if they can. We need a phone number. Email address needs to be an actual email address. So that's why if I were to do something like that, it would kick back an error and it wouldn't work. But if you type in just something at Gmail, that will be fine. And then a case number. So I believe in LA County, a case number is going to be necessary right now. We don't have a way to send one without a case number. So if the client hasn't received it from their eligibility worker, then they're not going to be able to send it in just yet. There are other counties that can accept them without a case number, but for the time being, LA County is not going to be one of them. So we'll put one in here. And then again, it'll take them through this. And if they say, no, I don't know what I need to submit, then we'll go ahead and ask some of the same questions. But since we can't really go back into the old application because there's no login or anything required, like account creation required for clients, then we don't really know what their past application said. So we'll kind of go through these again. Do I have a job? Yes. Do I get money not from a job? No. Have I lost a job in the last 30 days? We'll say yes. Are you a U.S. citizen? I am. 60 or older or disabled? We'll say no. Do I pay for child or dependent care? Court order child support? And college student. So now it's going to kind of go through step by step each one of these that we, for all the things that we should, that we're going to be asked to submit. So copy of our ID, and again, this is that button, the nothing to submit now button that I mentioned earlier, or we can pick a file from this computer. Pay stubs from the last 30 days because we said we had a job. Because we said we lost a job, then it's going to ask for proof of the lost job, so letter of termination or pay stub that says it's the final one. Housing expenses, the child or dependent care costs, and then anything else that we might want to submit that we might feel is pertinent to the application. And so again, you're going to want to get to the final page, which is, in this case would be this one as the confirmation page. Then they'll get a text message saying that their documents have been submitted to the county office. Trying to think. So if we go back to the demo site, so at the end of the initial application, there was those three options that said submit documents here, submit documents with my phone, or submit proof later. Submitting them with your phone. So what's going to happen is after you click that, we'll verify your phone number with you, and we will then send you a link with text message, and that link you're going to be able to open that up on your phone and then go through this whole process on your phone. What a lot of people have been doing is essentially sending a new link per document, which kind of messes up their application. So if you do end up doing that option to send it to your phone, please make sure to just complete the process on your phone as opposed to submitting your ID on your phone, and then going back to the computer, and then going to the next thing, and then sending another link to your phone just to submit your pay stub, and then going back to the computer to send something else. So once it goes to your phone, just finish the process through your phone if that's what they want to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think that makes sense. Thank you.
Sure. And then also important is the sign-in. So once we get the accounts made for everybody, then you'll want to go here to assist your sign-in, and you'll be able to sign in with your email, your password, and then you'll have a dashboard of all the applications that have been submitted through your CBO. And in that, it'll have name, it'll have birthday, confirmation numbers, things like that. And you'll be able to just track everything through there. We have like an analytics page where you can kind of see the demographics of the people that you've been helping and the applications that you've been submitting. So you can kind of run through those as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Were there any questions that anybody had?
Could you talk a little bit about how this interfaces with the 3 California portals rather than replacing them completely?
Yeah, so it's a little complicated in a way that I don't necessarily understand either because I'm not an engineer. But basically, what was created was kind of like a bot that all the information that gets entered in getcalfresh.org basically opens up a new application in either in LA County, in LRS, in BCW, or in C4, just depending on which one it is, and then it will fill out all that information, and it'll kind of just automatically go through all that. So it essentially like sits on top of all the existing systems, and it goes through that, it answers all the questions like it's asked, and then at the end it'll submit the application directly to the county. And you know, there is human error if somebody types something in wrong, if the zip code doesn't match the city, if the city doesn't match the county, and we always say users always find a way. So like before LA County was on board, then we still had users applying in LA County somehow. They just found a way and sent an application. It never made it to LA County, but they, put in their LA County address and submitted an application to a surrounding county and figured out how to get it in. So when things like that happen, if the street address is incorrect, the BCW or LRS won't accept the application, and so it essentially just kind of gets stuck. And then our engineers are just constantly looking at applications that have not, we call it driving, so it's applications that haven't driven yet. So if a zip code is wrong, our engineers will take a look at the application, see what's wrong with it, and then they will go to Google, figure out what the correct zip code should be, and then they'll fix the zip code themselves and then send it in. If the street address is incomplete, maybe they just put they didn't put a street number, they just put the street name, then they will message the client and they'll ask them, we have your application here, but we're missing a complete address. Could you send that over to us so we can get your application submitted right away? Same with documents. If the file's too big, they'll go in and they'll resize it themselves. If there's a password on it, we wouldn't be able to send it. We would have to go back to the client to take the password off of their PDF. Whatever the issue is, we have people working on it to make sure that it gets sent. And they do their best to make sure everything gets sent by the end of the day. So just so that we make sure that if somebody applies today on Friday, their application is getting sent today on Friday so that they get their benefits starting today as opposed to starting on Monday. So we have engineers working on that, and they've kind of been trying to figure out the most efficient way to do it, because before they used to just dedicate an hour of the day to sending all of the applications that have gotten stuck. But as we've been growing, as we've been getting into all these different counties, larger counties such as LA, they're just kind of like constantly doing it all day. So it's definitely something that we're working on. Something that we're, it's a priority for everybody to make sure those applications get in.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I want to invite anyone that has any other questions for our Code for America partners to go ahead and type them in the chat box. I do have another question for you, though. Our campus partners do what's known as follow-up. So after the applications are submitted, we like to follow up with our students or applicants to kind of see where they're at in the process. Could you talk a little bit about sort of those follow-up texts that you send through this website?
Yeah. I think I can't remember numbers off the top of my head, but the initial message that a client will receive is their confirmation. And that can either be in the email, text, or both. After that, we send out a document link. I think it's a day or two after. And that's just reminding clients, if they haven't already submitted documents, to do so. A couple days after that, this is also actually important to say that it depends on the county. Some counties tend to go through applications quicker than others. Perhaps they have a bigger capacity, they have more staff, whatever the case. The next message that clients receive is their interview reminder. So that's just reminding them to get in contact with their county if they haven't done so already. And then we'll usually provide information about just county information if any clients come back to us and say they haven't. But it's also data that the team collects for us to take to counties. And for example, if a large number of clients in LA haven't been scheduled by the 10th day, then that's something that is useful for us to know, because that's an issue we would raise. In addition, after their interview reminder, I believe it's their approval message, right? Yeah. And that message is towards the end of their 30-day cycle of the application process, and it's asking them, have you submitted documents? Have you spoken with anyone? And if not, make sure to do so. Contact us and we'll help you do that. And it's just kind of, all these messages are meant to be reminders and helpful to clients stay on track. And that's a little bit of what they receive, if that answers the question.
Yes, that does. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, we have definitely found that as we do our follow-ups, especially our texting follow-ups, that does help our students get through the process a little bit easier if they know that there's support there for helping them get through that process. And those reminders definitely help. So we think that that's a really cool feature of this site. I wanted to ask another question. I know that you are working to get Calfresh in all of the counties across California. I was just curious if there are any counties you are currently working with. San Bernardino comes to mind because I know that a lot of our LA campuses are also helping students in San Bernardino County. Is there any movement in getting this live there, or in any other counties that you wanted to note?
So San Bernardino, they're kind of like the next big fish to fry, I guess, because they are such a huge county and they are a pretty large player. And right now it seems like they do pretty well on their own. So I think that's kind of been like the hesitation there. Essentially, they don't need more help with their applications, but we are in talks with them. I think with the SSI cash out that's going to be happening in June, I think that's going to help our situation a lot. We're going to be in a lot more counties. We're probably going to be statewide by then because of the SSIs. So I think that's kind of our leverage in that. So if you do have some San Bernardino campuses, then definitely hold out for the next few months, and I think you'll be seeing or hearing some pretty good news.
Yeah, I think definitely by summer it will be out throughout the state of California. So that's something to look forward to.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I think that sort of movement definitely, that's good for us to know. Let's see. Okay, so Koji from Mount Sac asks, is the online app already running for LA County? If not, when will it go live? And since this system sits on top of existing counties' applications, will applicants need to check both this and the county CalFresh applications? So I can answer part of that, Koji. This is live for LA County. As Roger shared a little bit ago, there have been thousands of applications that have already come through for LA County, and so it's definitely up and running. It's definitely something that you can use as soon as possible, as soon as we get you set up with your CBO account. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute on how to get that all set up. As far as your second question goes, let's see. I think you might mean, I'm not quite sure if you mean should they check this specific account, or if I'm not quite sure of the second part of that question.
So I can jump in here. I think what they're saying is Get Calfresh, I guess I should start by saying Get Calfresh applicants do not need to create an account. So they are not able to follow up with their applications via getcalfresh.org. We wanted to make an application. We wanted to make something that's easily accessible by everybody, not complicated to use. One of the big issues with some of the other systems, the legacy systems with BCW and C4 and everything, is that just navigating the website is not easy. They have to create an account, they have to verify emails, they have to do CAPTCHAs, all these different things just to make sure that they're not robots. So we wanted something that anybody could use. You don't need an app. You don't need to go to the Apple app, the App Store, to the Google Play Store, whatever. You can just type this into your web browser, and you don't need to create an account. It's very low resolution. It's very just easy to use. It doesn't take a lot of data. So there is no account that needs to be made, and so there's no follow-up. When it comes to CBOs, and that's kind of where they jump in, and they're able to follow up with their county or with their clients, so that they can check on the status of their applications. So that's that.
I think in addition to that, if and when a client is approved, if they then want to track their status in their case, or maybe submit a STAR 7, things like that, then they're able to create an account through YBN or LRS to track that. But we do not create accounts for them, so there's not duplicate information.
Awesome. Thank you for that clarification. I think that is very helpful. Any other questions that you have about using the Get Calfresh application, or any of that? Like they did share also, there is a dashboard that you'll be able to see your applications, your submitted applications. There's also a dashboard where you can see what applications have been submitted, and they also have a section for notes and things like that. I won't share ours because there's confidential information in there, but as soon as you get your CBO account all set up, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So that again is another really helpful feature for sort of tracking the applications that are being submitted.
And if I could add a couple more things.
Of course. Yeah,
it's really important that when you do have your sign-in, when you do have your account information as a CBO assister, that you do remember to sign in. I know it can be a little difficult at first to just keep remembering to sign in, but if you do not, it will not show up in your dashboard, and it will not show up as you submitting it to LA County. It'll get submitted, but it'll get submitted with our information as opposed to yours. And what I think at the moment, LA County might not be an issue with that, but it's still important so that it'll show up in your dashboard. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to follow up with the client, because within the assister application, there's one extra question. It's a yes or no question, and it just says, it's something along the lines of, do you give permission to share your information with your assister? And so if they answer yes, then you'll be able to see their name, their phone number, their birthday, and all that in your dashboard as an application that you submitted. If they select no, or if that question isn't even asked, then it'll basically be like all asterisks and kind of blanked out, because it won't show up in the dashboard, and then we'll have to reassign it to your CBO. And because that question wasn't asked and they didn't answer yes, then we have to redact all that information. So it's just really important that you sign in there.
And I think we may have missed where to click to sign in at the very beginning when we had the screen share issue. So could you just show us that again real quick?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So this is the main landing page. So if you just scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a sister sign in, and you just click that, and then you'll be able to sign in here. And then it'll be your email address, and then we'll be able to set up a password for you. So here's sister sign in. Yeah, it's all the way down here just with the other links. We kind of wanted it to be something that clients would not necessarily be able to find, but trust me, they do find it. But it's specifically for CBO assisters. And then there is a toggle feature to toggle between languages. So throughout the application, on any page, you can toggle back and forth, and this is how you would do it. Just this option up here for English and Spanish. And then as I am myself, we also both speak Spanish. So if you have any questions, or if clients have any questions, then they can reach out to us, and we can respond to them in either language.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that feature as well. Yeah, that is really cool how you can kind of go in between both of those languages. Okay, awesome. Well, if there's any other questions, we'll definitely keep an eye on the chat box for the next couple of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen again, and we're just going to talk a little bit about getting you set up with your account. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, can you all see my screen now, my PowerPoint screen? Okay, awesome. So some next steps for you all. So if your campus has already received a CFO training from us, so if we came to your campus, between August and now, I think that we're ready to set you up with an account. The way that you're going to request this account be set up is you will email us at our main email, so our CHC calfreshoutreach@csu-chico.edu. You will need a general CalFresh Outreach email to set this up though. So what that means is that you should set up some sort of email through either your campus or through Gmail or a service like that. That's just general through CalFresh Outreach program. And we suggest having one of these anyways, just so that you can include it on your flyers and your materials and that sort of thing. So if you haven't had one of those set up yet, we definitely suggest setting that general email up. As soon as you have that set up, reach out to us here, and Elisa will help you get all set up with your CBO account so that you can have that account to do the applications through, and to be able to see that dashboard and see the applications that you've been submitting. What's really nice about this is that you will be able to use just that one login. So for LA County, it's been sometimes difficult because with each new group of interns or staff that comes in, we were originally having to fill out a confidentiality sheet where we were then getting different logins for each person that was helping with the application. But what's nice about this is that we're going to be able to just have one login and password that everyone on the team can use for campus. So that will cut out a little bit of that paperwork that was necessary before. Now, if your campus has not received your CFO training from us yet, so for example, we're doing a bunch of trainings this month, the month of January, and if we haven't come to your campus yet, we're not going to get you quite signed up yet for this, but you can definitely get started by creating that general CalFresh email that I just mentioned, and then by the time we come to your campus, we can have you all ready to go, and then after you're up and trained, you can feel free to use it. So that's sort of, you just, figure out which one you fall into, and then we can help you follow up with getting that account set up, either now or after you receive your training. And then finally, just reach out with questions if you have them. We definitely suggest that the easiest way to learn how to use this is just to go through the demo site and do a fake application, put in made-up information or your own information, and just really click through the screens. I think that this is, I know that it's definitely a lot more user-friendly than any of the other portals that are being used in California right now. So I suggest just going through and just, trying it out for yourself, and it's pretty user-friendly. I know that our interns and student staff now are a lot more excited to do applications than they were maybe in the past. So this is a great development for us and for really just, increasing our capacity of how many students that, we can help. So with that, I think we are all done with our webinar today. If you do have questions, again, please feel free to put them in the chat box, and I'll keep it on for a few more minutes. So feel free to send those there. If you have, more detailed questions, or if you want to set up a call or do, a one-on-one sort of conversation or a Zoom meeting, we can do that as well. But if not, then we will either get you set up when you send us that email if you've already been up and trained, or we'll get you set up when we come and visit you at your campus this January. So I want to say thank you for our speakers that were able to join us today. Thank you so much to Code for America for sharing, this great resource that you've developed and this great website that's going to make it easier on everyone. And thank you all for joining us today on the webinar. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having us. I'm really happy and just glad to hear that people are feeling enthusiastic about filling these out and helping clients.
And then one very, very last thing, we rely on user feedback, and that's not only client feedback, but also assister feedback. Food banks from Alameda County, Contra Costa County have reached out to us personally if something is not going right with their county office. We're a team of 13 right now, and we maintain this website, we run the website, and everybody's within arm's reach. So if something is going wrong, then we fix it ourselves. So if you do see any issues with the website, if you hear any feedback about documents not getting to the county office, applications not being submitted on time, please let us know. And then we have a county partnerships team who is in direct communication with each county that we work in, and they are able to bring these issues up and work them out, and we try to get them resolved as soon as possible. So you can email us, you can reach out to us through the chat site, we log everything, so we'll have access to any questions that come in. So you guys are all a huge part of us maintaining the website and making sure that everything runs smoothly. So thank you.
Awesome, and thank you. Yes, again, we very much appreciate all the work that you're doing around this, and we really appreciate you making our lives easier. So,
of course.
Awesome. Well, I hope everyone has a great rest of their Friday. Again, reach out if you have any additional questions or if you want to schedule a call to talk about this or anything like that. I know that a couple of people asked if this recording will be available. It will be available probably next week to share with your colleagues or your student staff or your interns that are interested in using this. So that, yeah, look for that email later or earlier next week. But yeah, have a great Friday, everyone.